It's the all-new 93.7 The V, H-Town's real hip-hop, home of the Breakfast Club, and your shot at $1,000 in COVID relief cash. What's up, y'all? Superstars here. Now, as you know, I love to talk about stuff that is popping right here in the H-Town community. And when you get a chance, be sure to check out Face the Beat on Sunday mornings at 7 a.m., all right? Now, I don't know if you've heard about this exhibit that's happening right here at the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, but it is called The Soul of a Nation. It is so dope. And this morning, I am happy to have the associate curator of the Museum of Fine Arts right here in H-Town, Miss Kenitra Fletcher. Now, Miss Fletcher, just a quick question before we get started. If one wanted to become a curator, can you just tell us how would they do so?
Oh, well, it is a long, winding road, but basically I would, if you're asking me tips or what I did, because, there's no direct route, I would say. You study art history for sure. Mm-hmm. Develop knowledge of, another language. You need to have good writing skills. You need to have good speaking skills. Hopefully I will today. But you have to have, have to be curious about the world and have a knowledge of history in general, because art history is really, the representation of historical events and times through artwork, like visually. So that's important to have an understanding of historical events. And also just to want to share that information with others. Curators often have to give presentations and talks and lead groups and show them work. And so you have to be willing to be wanting to share that information.
Right. Okay. I was just curious to know. Now, let's talk about the Soul of a Nation, which is what the art in the age of Black Power. Can you just give us an overview of the exhibit?
Yes. Well, it's a large-scale exhibition, about 14 sections, that shows the different strategies and debates about what it meant to be a Black artist, roughly between 1963 and 83. So really during this very tumultuous period of time in American history, when artists had to consider if and how they were going to respond to major movements like the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power Movement. And it explores what it meant to be, or what it meant, and what we mean when we say Black art. How is that defined? Can it be defined? I think that the exhibition basically shows us that that there is no one way to create art as a Black person. But the exhibition begins in 1963. The year of the March on Washington, which many of the artists in the exhibition attended. And the first section focuses on a group called Spiral, which was a group of artists who attended the march, and then they came back to Harlem in New York and met regularly to discuss how they might respond to the Civil Rights Movement as artists. Was there a responsibility, if any, to express their solidarity with the movement, is there one way to express Blackness, if there's a way to do that in their artwork? And eventually they held an exhibition, and they discovered that there was no one or singular way to express Blackness, or there was no Black aesthetic. And then that section sets you up for the rest of the exhibition, where you see just a range of artworks, different styles, different techniques, different approaches to that time period. It goes from, New York and Los Angeles and Chicago. We have a section on Houston, and it's just wide ranging, and really, I think there's something there for everyone.
I'm a visual person, and that's how I actually learn a lot of things. I'm a visual and audio, of course, being a DJ. Yeah. Yeah. And, let me tell you, I have purchased so many audio books during this time. Oh, yeah. And so I said, I got to get back into, my art and, all that. And when this opportunity came available, I was like, man. And, speaking of Houston, just curious, which local artists are included?
Right. Well, some are not alive anymore, but we have two moving. So we have works by John Biggers, Carlson, right? They weren't from Houston, but they came to Houston in 1949, 1950 to begin the art program at Texas Southern University,
right?
And the two living artists we have are Kermit Oliver and Early Hudnall Jr. Kermit Oliver is primarily a painter and a printmaker, and Early Hudnall is a photographer.
Wow. Now, can you talk to us a little about the virtual programs that's surrounding the exhibition?
Sure. So if you go to the website and you go to the exhibition page, the exhibition webpage for Sullivan Nation, there's a link on there for virtual programs right at the top. And it shows you all the programs we have. We have some recorded and some live. We have recorded, I recorded a visual, an overview of the exhibition that shows you images and gives you the history or explanation or general overview of each section. We also have a conversation with me, our director, Gary Tensero, and the president of the Ford Foundation, Darren Walker.
Okay.
And the Ford Foundation generously funded the exhibition. So it was great to talk to him about his impressions of the show and how it aligns with the goals of his foundation. We also have, but the exciting thing is that we've had a weekly virtual online discussions with artists from the exhibition.
Oh, really?
So
wow.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Now I have to be exact. We had one, they're every Saturday.
Okay.
So we started July 18th with a panel discussion on Black art and activism, and that was with 3 artists who were in a collective called Afrocobra in Chicago in the 60s. Afrocobra still exists, but not all of them are still in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
But after that, last Saturday we had Black Art Through the Lens, so that was photographers from the exhibition, Dawood Bey, Ming Smith, and Asher Cohen. And then this weekend we have Black Art in Abstraction, and that's with Melvin Edwards, who is born and raised in Fifth Ward, Houston, and then Fred Eversley and William T. Williams. Next week, so that's this Saturday at 3 o'clock, and everyone can go to the website and click on the link to tune in at that time. Next week we'll have one with Black Art in Houston, and that has Dr. Alvia Warlock from TSU, with Early Hudnall Jr., the photographer I just spoke about, Michelle Barnes from Community Artists Collective, and artist Nathaniel Donnett, who is from Houston. And then the week after that, we have Black cultural organizations in Houston, and that'll be moderated by John Guest of HMAC.
Yeah.
We'll also have we'll have Harrison Guy of Urban Souls Dance Company.
Oh, that is my friend.
Oh, great.
I love Harry.
Also, with Eileen Moore of the Ensemble Theater and artist Vicky Meek.
Okay.
So that's August 15th. So we have those. And eventually, soon, we will have a video of a tour going through the exhibition, so you can get, an idea of what it looks like inside the galleries. Man,
I was really hoping that we could have gone in. I know, with everything happening, what do you hope viewers will take away from the exhibit?
Well, I think one of the main things is, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but it's basically that there are so many different ways that Black artists have created work. There's no one singular way or there's no one definitive way of creating quote unquote Black art. I mean, even that term is contested, right? And I also think it's important for people to see this work because it's rarely seen, and these artists and this artwork are rarely seen in Houston, many of them, and it's important to see, what's often missing from art histories and exhibitions. When we think about American art, these artists should be included because we can see them creating work at important times, in pivotal periods of art history, responding to those pivotal periods of art history, and clearly having conversations with and working with non-Black artists. And so, very much in the mix as much as any other artist was this time. So they should be understood as a part of American art history.
Right.
And I also think that considering what's happening, right, this summer with the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and so many others, it's important to see that these issues are not new, that they've plagued our country for 50 years and more. And a lot of the works in the exhibition are very much almost feel like they could have been made today.
Right. Right.
Right. There's works that are dealing with the aftermath of uprisings and protests. There's works that are dealing with, police brutality, being no-knock warrants, being gunned down in your home in the middle of the night, like Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not to cut you off. I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is. I just got to say this because you're making some good points, and I don't want to forget. But they had the final funeral procession for John Lewis, right? And my daughter, she was watching it, and I was born in the late 70s, raised in the late, I'm still fairly young, and I didn't even know, I knew the work that John Lewis, had done. You grow up, learn about, Martin Luther King and the march and everything. But it wasn't until yesterday that I realized so much that what he's done. And I was sitting there shedding a tear, and my daughter was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, I'm really trying to unlearn a lot of things that I've learned in school, and it's just disheartening that we're going through the same stuff that that they're going through. And I had to see that visually. And so this is perfect. And I see that y'all have something on John Lewis as well.
Oh, yeah. So that's a part of our film program. So in addition to the, virtual discussions, we have a film series that's complementing the exhibition. Ooh. And so again, on the webpage, there's a link to the films that you can see. And one of them is John Lewis, Good Trouble, which, that was his saying, he wanted to get into good trouble. So, it's a documentary about the life and times of him and plenty other films that are also available.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I need to share this as well with other, organizations that my daughter's a part of. Yeah, everybody. I'm going to blog about it too, because this is very needed right now, okay?
I think so.
I'm scrolling through the website, and forgive me because I'm just now looking, and I am just mesmerized because this is some great information right here, especially when, now a lot of schools are starting virtually, and you need something, to take the minds off of, children and, their schoolwork. Man, this is great.
Children often, and children often respond to art work, sometimes better than adults.
Yeah, so, that's true.
Yeah, their imaginations, run wild. So definitely show them.
Man, okay. So before we get out of here, is there anything else you would like to share with me or the listeners about the programs or virtual, cinema or anything?
Well, I do think, first I should say that it's safe to visit the museum. We're still open, and masks are required. We have sanitizer everywhere. We don't allow more people in there than, it's safe to be in there. We have we keep it to a certain percentage. We also, and by the way, I don't know if people know this, but we do have a air conditioning filter system that filters the air out and recycles it, so we're not just sitting there in the same air. So that's,
wow. Now, what are the hours? Yeah. Because I'm definitely coming through. I really do want to come through. I might come. Yeah, because you know what? That's so funny. And I was going to ask you that, but I didn't want to sound silly. But my daughter's friend actually was talking about it in the car. We were going home because we live not far from there. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, Amy, we went to the Soul of a Nation." And I was like, "Y'all went into the museum?"
Oh.
I was like, "I thought it was closed." And then she was like, no, we went 2 weeks ago. So, man, this is great. Yeah. So what's the hours?
Absolutely. Oh, sure. We're open Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday through Saturday we open at 11, and Sunday we open at 12:30. Every day is a different ending time, so I recommend going to the website.
Okay.
To see it.
Okay.
To get the exact dates. But also, it's open. The exhibition is on view until August 30th.
Okay, August 30th. Oh, well, I'm definitely coming through. I'm excited. I might have to hit you up and be like, we can take a picture and put it on the website. But,
oh, yeah.
yeah, but I am so excited about this. And, I'm going to spread the word, make sure that a lot of people know about the virtual programs as well.
And, and there's lots of space in the museum and visitors can purchase tickets to enter the museum ahead of time. The exhibition itself is free of charge, but if you the museum is free on Thursdays. If you go on any other day, you can purchase your tickets ahead of time online.
Man, well, I am so excited, and I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. And I know our listeners will definitely be checking Soul of a Nation out until August the 30th.
Right.
Yes.
Great.
Well, thank you so much, Kenitra.
Thank you. I appreciate your interest in it.